All right. A little bit of technical difficulty. I guess I screwed up. So we had to start it over again. Nobody could talk in the chat on YouTube. So now we just went and we just changed it. So people can come in the chat. All right. All right. So here we are. Everything's back. All right. One of the things that also, if you guys notice, if you guys were with Switch Commerce, one of the challenges Switch Commerce had this week, it started basically on late Friday, is that Switch Commerce had their internet provider. They changed providers unbeknownst to them. And when that happened is their security levels change. And so they had to make sure everything was secure, and they had to revamp over the weekend, very tedious process for them, and make sure that the security protocols were in place. And so to do that, that basically brought down the network to make sure it was all regulated and the right way. And then they brought up the terminals. In the meantime, they switched over. They have another server in the part of the country, and they brought all the terminals over there. Then they tried to bring it back and make sure those protocols worked. And then it had some other challenges yesterday. So they're pretty much 90% up and running. Just to let you guys know, if you experience some of this, what happened. Now that they're 90% up and running, you might have to change some of the way it was programmed to allow Visa Frame protocol to work. You can check with your local ISO. They can help you through this process. What you'll have to do is bring the terminal down, input a couple changes for programming, and then bring it back up. If you have a Triton machine, it wasn't affected. But if you have a Paloon, Halo, or a Tranix, or a Hantel, or Gen Mega, you might have to make some alterations, some changes into what it was doing as far as when you program your ATM. So there are some little changes, not big ones. But if your ATM isn't working, that's the fix. But if most of the country, if you just bring the ATM down and bring it back up, it should work. So just to give you guys a heads up of what happened if you're with Switch Commerce this weekend. A little bit hairy in some situations, but they rectified the challenge, and then they're just mopping it all up right now. So, all right. Okay, so I got my thing on. Okay, so first, good morning. Let's see. When we set up a terminal, that the processor asks for an address where okay, so here's the question. Good morning, Philip. Let's see. When we set up a terminal, the processor asks us for the address where the ATM will be placed. But if we wanted to have an ATM on hand, online and ready to go for mobile events, how do we do that? Basically, you set it up for, let's call it, just call it mobile event 1. And so we'll put it to your business address. And then that way, when you guys set it up for mobile event 1, if you guys have that ATM ready to go, then all you have to do is change the address and give new bank account numbers to your ISO. Because if you're going to give a surcharge split to the location, what you won't have is you won't have the surcharge amount. You won't know exactly what you're going to charge. So if you're charging $3 and you give the location 50 cents or $1 or whatever you're giving, you won't have that protocol. So 100% of the surcharge will go to you when you initially set it up for mobile. And then, so if you place it in a location, you'll need to change that surcharge. You need to provide them a W-9, and you'll more likely need to fill out new additional paperwork, because now you're going to marry that ATM to the location. So if that's not going to be a mobile location, it's going to be a brick and mortar, then you'll have to marry that. So you have to fill out additional paperwork. For us, if you are asking, how do I do this for a mobile event, is basically you're going to send it registered to your place of business. So let's call it ATM Mobile 1. So you'll get 100% of the surcharge. You'll fill out the W-9. You'll fill out the retail processing agreement with your ISO, and you'll tell them that it's in the location of let's call it the warehouse or mobile 1. That way, when you have a mobile event, then you rename it and call it, let's say, Fall Festival number 1, Fall Festival number 2, and so forth and so on. On mobiles, what I always do is I put new information every mobile agreement that we have, because I want to bring that information, I want to store it, and we categorize it. So it says, okay, let's say Fall Fest number 1, it did this. This is the day of the week it was. This is the weather. So next year I can look at the history. And so they'd say, well, we need 5 ATMs. And like, well, we did 2, and we didn't go through any money on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Why do we need 5? So I want to have a little history. That first year is kind of like a blind run, but every year after that, I know how much money we went through on a daily basis, what's the weather like on a daily basis, how many ATMs we have, how many did they ask for. Therefore, we can minimize our exposure. Keep in mind, when you do a mobile event, the more ATMs you do, the more it costs you, because now you got to, if you have $10,000, you got to spread it between 5 ATMs. It's better to have one ATM with 10,000 instead of 5 ATMs with 10,000. So a little bit of overkill, but I just wanted to give you guys that information because that's a valuable learning experience. Okay. What is the philosophy on going into the ATM business and removing somebody else's ATM in the business? Okay, so we kind of go over this in our course, the A to Z course. But the philosophy is, to me, I don't step on anybody's toes. Is what happens is if you have let's say you go into a location and they have an ATM, and then I always introduce myself. Hey, I'm Phil in the ATM business. I didn't know if you're happy with your provider or not. And usually I can figure out from that conversation is if they're happy, if they're and how long their agreement is, or if they have an agreement. And that's basically, it's a fact-finding mission to say, why am I here and what am I doing and how do I get into this store? Now, if the owner says, hey, I'm pretty happy with the guy, but I'll listen to your deal. And I'm like, well, how much is the commission? What kind of transactional volume? I'm doing fact finding again. How much is he paying? Is he happy? And how long their deal is? Those are the 3 main things I'm looking for. If I can get that, and I know, hey, he is happy, but the owner wants just a better deal, then I find out, well, okay, how long is the agreement that's left in place? And is it make sense for me to come in and offer a better deal? But the transactional volume's got to be there. And then I need proof. I need some statements. Let me see, well, he doesn't give me any statements. Well, then it's all hearsay. Then what the owner's going to tell me is he's killing the thing. He wants somewhere in the neighborhood between, if I got a $3 surcharge, he wants somewhere between anywhere from 50 cents to half. And I'm not looking to do that. And then the transaction volume, if you can't prove to me that they got transaction volume, then I'm out. It doesn't make sense. Okay. But those are the kind of things you're looking for. And that's how you need to handle a situation. You got to ask for proof. How to ask for proof that the guy's doing what he says he's doing. I've been in too many situations where the guy comes in and tells you, oh yeah, we're doing 500 transactions a month and my guy's giving me $1 and I want to get more. And so I'm like, okay, well, for 500, we can do that. And then we can give you more. And then what happens is we get in there, we give the owner a bit more, and they're doing 80 transactions a month. And what he told me is not the truth. He always tells me, oh yeah, we were doing more, but the ATM was out of money. It was out of order. It was broken. We were losing. We do the ramp up speed. And then that's always the same. I find out that without proof, they always smoke the numbers. So just be aware and ask for proof. All right. If my keypad isn't working, do I need to buy a whole new ATM, or is there a way I can have someone repair it? Okay, so PDQ Merchant Enterprise, what we do is we have an amazing program. We call it the exchange program. You guys send us your keypad, and we'll give you another keypad for basically $175. So it's not an advanced replacement. You keep that keypad as long as we got your keypad and we can fix it. And that's okay. Now, sometimes you'll send us a keypad, we can't fix it. So there will be that situation. We'll just tell you right off the bat, hey, I can't fix it. So the keypad you sent me is not very good. So I can't fix it. So that doesn't work. If you want to buy a keypad, it's X. If you want to buy a refurbished, it's Y. So that does happen from time to time, but most of the time we look at the keypad, we know we can fix it, and then we ship you guys out a keypad. So PDQ basically does Keypad Repair, and we can help you guys with that process. Is there an ATM? Is the ATM business oversaturated? So the answer to that is no. There's always room to grow the ATM business, and we talk about that in the course. What happens is, you know what? There are ATMs all over the country, but there's always room for growth. There's always bad ATM operators that aren't doing a good job. They don't have enough money. They expand too fast. They have bad equipment on the street. They don't have enough money in the ATMs, so the ATMs go down all the time, and they're not utilizing enough of that they could get more transactions. So there are it's good news for you is there's ATM operators that aren't doing the best job. And because they're not doing the best job, it gives you ample amount of opportunity to be in there. Look, you know what? Every market, there's always opportunity for the right person in the right market. That's in the course. That's what we teach all over and over again. A lot of times I see people, they rush into the business. They think they know what's going on. And then, you know what? They set ATMs at bad locations. And then they say, oh, you know what? It was oversaturated and making money. No, what happened is we didn't have the education to understand where you got to look and where you got to place your ATM. You can't just place the ATM, throw rice at the wall and make it stick. You got to put it in the right spot, and then you can make money in this business. You know, and that's the good thing I see it in a lot of other chats is guys say, oh, come into business. You don't need a mentor. You don't need anything. And then what happens is these guys come in, they buy 2, 3, 4 ATMs, and then they're out of business in a year from now. And then all the guys in the other groups are like, oh, great. Now I get ATMs. I can buy them for 50 cents on a dollar. And so that's what they're telling you to do, because they want to buy those ATMs cheap from the guys who didn't get the education. So be wary of that. And just to let you know, let's see. Any advice on buying a business when a business owner owns it, convincing them to use my services? So question, let me repeat again. Any advice on buying an ATM when the business owner owns it and convincing them to use my services? Yeah. So what I do is I go in there and I see, oh yeah, the ATM, it depends on if the guy's a good ATM operator who owns the ATM in the store. If the ATM's constantly down or it's broke or something happens, that's your time to get in there. You'll look at the ATM and you say, look, I come in here. I was in here last week. It was out of money. It was out of money again. You're trying to drive people in your store by having the ATM up and running. But what's the problem? How come it's not running? Most of the time they're going to say, you know what? I just don't have the cash to put in the ATM. And I bought the ATM, but you know what? I need a liquor delivery. I got to buy food. I got to buy something. We take the money out. Then when I get the money, I put it back in. But in the meantime, they're creating a pattern that the ATM doesn't work. So you got to have a reason. Again, we got to solve a problem. If the problem is the ATM's broke and that's why it's down, or the ATM's out of money, then you could solve that problem. You could tell them, hey, you know what? I'll come in here. We'll vault it for you. You own the ATM and I'll vault it. But if it's an older ATM, you might say, you know what? I'm out because it's so old. I'll just give you some money. I'll buy it off you. I'll put our ATM in here and then you go on your way. But that's how you would do that is you would either buy the ATM from the guy or vault it and he owns it and then you'll have to service it. That'll help out. And then you can get the ATM. You can negotiate a nice deal that way. All right. So Brandon say, should I add an ATM sign with my location? Yes. It's just a form of advertising. Lets everybody else know out there that you have an ATM in that store. So you're trying to appease the outside people from coming in and drawing them into your store. So I highly recommend always putting an ATM sign in a location. They're nominal. We do sell ATM signs. They're like $40 or something. And you know what? That $40 pays dividends all the time. I mean, if you get $3, we're talking about 30, 10 or 15 transactions, and then you make money. All right. I put my first ATM in a Chinese restaurant. Do you think I'll do good? You know what? I don't know if you will or not. In most situations that I've seen in Chicago, we got a lot of those type of places. I can't pronounce what it is, but basically it's like a Chinese deli. They sell the food. I think it'll do well in that environment, usually, especially if they have if they do food on the side, or is it just more like a deli that they don't sell? But I've seen those in Chicago and it looks like they do well. I don't have personal experience in those locations. Okay, Josh. Hey, Josh, what's going on, buddy? Okay. If you process with PQ, is there a surcharge split sent directly to the business owner account on file monthly, or does the ATM owner have to send out the payments? No. Okay, so Josh said if you process with PDQ, that's us. Do we send the business owner directly their ACH or their monthly surcharge? Yes, we do. So when you process with PDQ, what we do is we ask you, hey, give us your business owner's account and routing number in W-9. And so what we do is now we have it on file, and every month we'll send out the surcharge. So you, with the ATM operator, you can do what you do best, and that's get new locations and maintain your business. We'll handle all the accounting for you. So we'll set them up with a report that tells them how much money they made, and we'll also deposit the money into their account monthly. Okay. Let's see. Jeff just got my bank account set up as a credit union, and say I'll be calling you. Okay, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Looking forward to doing business with you. I'm excited about it. Facebook. Let's see. His ATM is not up to his ATM. Okay, so his ATM is not up to ADA standards. No stickers, things like that. Is that a problem worth pitching on? So ADA compliance, yes, more than likely it's an old ATM. Now, what I'll do is, depending on who he's processing, he's usually paying, or they're paying a fine to the processor because the ATM is probably not EMV compliant, it's not ADA compliant, and they're already paying fines. And the more fines they pay, it'll get a little heavier for them. So I would stick with that customer. I'd say, hey, you know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll bring a brand new ATM in here. We'll pay you X. And we can handle that, or sell them an ATM and get them up to speed. You're a local guy or a local person, and you can help them with service. And if you want to vault cash it for them, then you can do that. Or what can happen is you can just put your own ATM and pay them a commission. So I think those are always ample opportunities. It's not a question of if, it's just when. So stick to that person, and you'll be able to get that location in time. Let's see. I have a Charlie debit 60. It averages 60 transactions a month. Okay, I don't know. So it averages 60. I don't know if that's $60 or 60 transactions a month, but okay. So thanks for letting us know, because I don't know what those locations do. What's the best part of the ATM A2Z course? The best part is me. So no, but you know what? The experience that I got is invaluable to you guys out there, so you don't make the same mistakes as that even I made. Even on that situation that I mentioned earlier, is, you know what? If you have, instead of buying an ATM and placing it in a bad location, you purchase the ATM A2Z course, and we talk you out of those situations. I had a guy yesterday ask me, hey, Phil, I'm looking at a particular location. He said it was a gentleman's club, and he's like, I'm looking at this ATM. Hey, you think that's going to be a good investment? It's a big high ticket ATM. And I said, it doesn't matter. I mean, when you go to gentlemen's clubs, you don't really care about the ATM. You really care about the girls. So it doesn't really matter to customers. And the guy who owns, or the company who owns the gentlemen's club, he just wants to make sure that works. So he just needs the ATM to dispense money. He doesn't care if it's a high-end ATM or not. But what it does matter is to you, because if you have to service that high-end ATM, usually there's more bells and whistles. When you got more bells and whistles, you got more things that go wrong, and now the ATM could go down. You're paying a premium for an ATM. All you need to do is dispense cash. That's it. That's all you need to do. But all the other bells and whistles could go wrong, and now you have an issue. Usually those high-end ATMs are PC-based, and so that's going to be a problem if the computer got more moving parts, so to speak. So just to let you guys know, but the best part about the ATM A2Z course is, you know what, you can learn off all the mistakes I got, and I can prevent you from making future mistakes and get to your destination. And your destination is to make money. That's what you guys are trying to do. All right. Let's see. Any advice on keeping animals out of the ATM? Yeah. Animals. I guess that's what we're calling mice, but yeah. So what I would do is I would put on, I'd get you guys some Gorilla Tape, and Gorilla Tape, what it'll do is, mice don't like the taste of Gorilla Tape. So if you put that on the back of your ATMs and inside, that'll help from the mice getting in there. The ATM generally is a warm place. And usually if you're in a northern, somewhere up north during the wintertime, it gets a little cool. Mice are looking for a home for them to nest. And when they do that, the ATM is a great spot. They go in there, they say, oh, wow, this is nice and warm. It's a nice environment. Nobody's going to come and eat me. And so they like to make a home in the ATM. And so they start to make a nest. And then that's not good. I've seen, it never happened to me, but I have seen where the ATM, the mice have gotten in and tried to eat some of the money in the reject bin that has happened, not to me, but I have seen a mouse, they've gotten in there, and right when they're running around, and what happens is somebody dispenses money, and now the mouse gets trapped up in the belts. It's not a pretty scene, and just goes round and round. So then your ATM goes down. So you try to keep mice out. Okay. What's the best location you have? I don't have, Mars are gaming parlors and truck stops. That's my best location. The best locations out there right now are dispensaries, bar none. I don't have any. But you know what? We're always hopeful we're going to get some. In the beginning of the game, we didn't have any access to dispensaries, even though it's been around for 15 years. We were prevented as an ISO from doing that. So we just kind of let that ship has kind of sailed. But you know what? With the increase throughout the country of dispensaries and medical marijuana and legal marijuana, you know what? That might be something that we get lucky and get that. But if you guys have access to that, or excuse me, or anybody in a medical marijuana or in the cannabis industry, that's a tremendous avenue. It'll really change your life. I talked to a lot of people who have been fortunate enough to grab those. They were pioneers in the business, and you know what? They're doing phenomenal. So if you can get one, that's where I would target my energy. Okay, should I replace the stock locks? If so, what's the best aftermarket lock to install on your ATM? You know what? What I would do is I would wait until you get five ATMs, and then when you get 5 ATMs, you can buy a lock. The challenge is if you buy one, they're going to hit you for about $25 for a lock, and you got 2 in ATM, so it's going to cost you $50. You could probably get that lock down around $10 if you buy 50 or more. But if you don't have those 8, if you or not 50 or more, 10, like 12 or more. So now if you have to buy let me do the math. Okay, so you got to buy 12 or more, and if you got 5 ATMs, that'll help you get to your 6-1, or maybe you'd say I'm going to buy 24 locks, and then you're going to grow your business. But because of when lock companies, what they want to do is they want to sell the locks in volume. When we would buy locks, we'd buy 500 or 1,000 a piece, locks at a time. That way it helps out. So when you're starting out in the business, you know what? Usually I in our ATM course, I talk about that. But I mean, to be honest with you, the best thing to do is just wait until you get 5 and then buy 12 locks, because it'll keep your costs down. And that'll help you out. Okay. Thanks for answering all the questions. All right. So I hope that was helpful. Always remember that we have I'm going to put the ATM masterclass, the link down below. It'll help you guys in the business. It'll help you guys from making the mistakes. It'll teach you the ATM business, and it'll help you gravitate, because what we're trying to do is get more transaction volume. So you're going to minimize your mistakes you're going to make, and you're going to maximize the amount of revenue you can make, and how to get to that next level that you guys are trying to get to. Most of the time, what we're trying to do is, you know what, we just want to change our lifestyle, however much that is. It's $200, $500, $1,000 a month. That makes a big difference for a lot of guys, and you know what, including myself. So that's what we want to try to do, and that's why the masterclass helps out. And we also sell ATMs. So if you guys are out there in YouTube and Facebook land, we can help you guys out. We're more than able to help you. So thank you guys very much, and I'm going to see you guys next week on the live. All right, thank you. What's the 401 payment locations? I know Wi-Fi asked one quick question. Is they ask, how do we pay our locations? We pay them all ACH. That's the best way. I don't like to write checks. It's too cumbersome. It takes too much time, and then I gotta put it into. I gotta give them their transactional volume in a statement. That whole process takes time. So what we do is we try to just do ACH. All right. Thanks, guys.